All right, welcome to another episode of the Lockdown Podcast, where we continue to pick apart Raw and SmackDown, PLEs, anything we're working towards, any rumors, or pretty much anything we want to talk about because it's our podcast. So we actually took a week off last week, and that was the first time in 89 weeks that I've taken a week off. I deserved it. I've been doing this shit for a while. So a break was needed. It happened, but welcome back. And so it's been an interesting. So we'll kind of glaze over the week, kind of before Clash in Paris. Really wasn't too exciting, with the exception of a couple things. And then we'll get to Clash. We'll get to the Raw and SmackDown after, and the minuscule card that is WrestlePalooza, which is a joke, and the tickets are really expensive, even for the nosebleed, and it's garbage, and I don't like it. But we will get to it in a bit. But so we had this build for Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed at Clash in Paris. Raw basically kicks off, with Roman coming out, doing what Roman does, being interrupted by one Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed. And so from what I heard, I don't know if it's truly valid, but Paul Heyman actually got hurt when Roman was choking him out. And I think whether it's kayfabe or it's real or it's fake, I kind of like it. Screw you, Paul Heyman. You left the team. But and so that's kind of how it kicks off. Obviously, they get broken up, and the same thing we've seen 1,000 times for builds to matches. It's really a very popular recipe that is used in the WWE realm. So no real surprise kind of how this went. Now, Dragon Lee defeats JD McDonough. Not really a whole lot there. Um, Obviously AJ Styles comes out to basically thwart off Dominic Mysterio, to build for their match. Um, but other than that, Kofi Kingston defeating Penta, and I don't like that they seem to be doing nothing with the popularity of Penta. Like when he first came on the scene, maybe 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, it was so much potential. You were like fantasy booking already for Penta, maybe winning a championship, and they really haven't been doing much with him. I mean, he's been taking L's, and I think it's kind of outlandish, especially to Kofi Kingston. And again, like, some of these matches have no real build, and I think that's kind of a flaw in creative right now, I believe, with WWE, is that there's not even a minuscule story. It's always something happens backstage and they work their way to a match. I wish there was more tension build for matches, but there's just not. Um Now Becky Lynch is facing off and Nikki Bella at Clash in Paris. They have a whole spat, and again, it's the recipe of all recipes. They get into a scuffle. It's like the same thing Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns did. Same little scuffle thing. They get broken up. I mean, it's getting boring. Like, I hate to literally tell, WWE program is becoming predictable. They use different recipes with different wrestlers, and it's just some of these stuff's on repeat, and I don't like it. Um, so so in weeks past, Rhea and Io Sky have been having this help out back and forth, in regards to their matches, and Kabuki Warriors are basically getting pissed and telling her to stay out of her business, even though Io Sky is her own person. And but I like the drama and back, at least. Just because half the time you don't know what Asuka's saying, even when you're speaking English. So they're fun segments as far as the build for it. I feel like we're gonna get something down the road in regards to Rhea and maybe Asuka, maybe Kairi Sane, maybe like a back and forth. Maybe you face Asuka one week, Kyrie Sane another week or something. I don't know. Maybe down the road, maybe for whatever reason, maybe we get Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Asuka and Kyrie Sane. I don't know. I feel like there's at least something here, just enough to like make it valid if they have matches, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so like this is what I was saying about stories, like at least a little bit of build. Like there's been this back and forth tension, and I feel like there has to be a breaking point eventually.
Right.
Now, so AJ Styles is supposed to face off against Dominic for the Intercontinental Championship, and I I don't know how to put it, that I don't really like Dominic as the champion, just
Mhm.
because it's like he's the guy that has the help all the time. And I rather they give it to AJ Styles or they give it to someone else, and maybe Penta, maybe like it needs to move around a little bit, because I don't feel like Dominic does a whole lot with it other than come down to the ring with the Goon Squad and have them help him win matches.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's typical heel behavior,
yeah,
according to wrestling tropes. But I don't, there's got to be a payoff. There's got to be an AJ Styles payoff. Yeah, there's just got to be a fairly decent payoff.
yeah. It's kind of like, at what point in time do you just break out and do what we want you to do?
Right.
Because it's like, for a while, Triple H was listening to the fans, and I feel like he's drifted away with that a little bit, and he's kind of not. But I think creative just needs to get creative.
That would be the hope.
It's in your job description.
Yeah.
Like, they just continually use the same tropes and recipes, like, over and over and over again, and it's like, oh wow, we could have seen this one coming. Like 95% of contract signings end in a scuffle.
Yeah.
Like I think there's been like a handful in the last 20 years that were clean. And it's like, contract signings are stupid anyways, because all it takes is Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis to say it's official. Like,
and they could just say it, and then we don't even have to have that segment.
Yeah, and I feel like we could throw a match in instead of a contract signing to end a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it for Raw. I mean, Braun Breaker defeats LA Knight. I mean, I'm not like, it's very atypical, how they begin and end shows. And again, creative. Wish you were creative. Wish you surprised me, but you didn't. So we have John Cena and Logan Paul at Clash in Paris, and they kick off the show with John Cena literally just verbally eviscerating Logan Paul in only John Cena fashion. Like, I honestly love this. I love this John Cena. Like, the whole heel gimmick was honestly god awful. And I like the actual John Cena, the lyricist, the poetic, like, just the I'll bash you with words, and that's exactly what he did to Logan Paul. And I tell you, he took it out. Logan Paul took that on the chin, metaphorically. It was a lot to take in, and John Cena just laid him out. But so Alexa Bliss defeats Chelsea Green again. This is one of those, there's no build to it. I mean, there is, but there isn't. But Michin defeats Kiana James again. Kind of, really nothing there. There's no surprise that Julia interrupts after the match and all that. I mean, it's getting to the point where there's just always something.
Yeah.
Can't they just leave the ring? We can continue the show.
I wonder if it could be that, and they just do that. How would fans feel by watching, like, nothing that brings the extra drama, even though it's repetitive.
Right.
You know, are they so used to seeing those types of antics, behaviors, recipes that if they didn't see it, you know,
And yeah, and I mean, at the same token is that, they wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't entertaining to a certain point. So, I mean, like you said, although it's predictable, I mean, it just adds layers, I guess. But Randy Orton has been on this rant or this bit, of, Drew McIntyre talking crap in regards to Cody and his friends. And, obviously Cody's out of commish with getting uh Claymored into the desk, which I they've always talked about the fact that you need to have defended the title every 30 days,
right?
and it's not happening.
I mean,
And we
yeah.
all know, like, I'm gonna keep going with this rant, even though it doesn't really matter, is that they should have given the title to Randy Orton and not Cody Rhodes if he was gonna go do a movie or do whatever he's doing and getting written off TV the same way Roman Reigns got written off, or getting written off and everything. Like, I he's Randy Orton's gonna be there. Cody's gone doing, whatever he, that Street Fighter movie or whatever. And it's just like the undisputed title is not the A title. Like, literally the World Heavyweight Championship, the secondary titles, and then the undisputed championship. And I feel like that's how it ranks.
Mm,
Because they've really not done a whole lot with the undisputed.
right. That's
You
a
look
strong
at
take.
the world heavyweight and what Gunther did, the banger matches he had with defending that title, the drama of the cash in for that title, the fact that Seth carries that title with such arrogance and such prestige that, like, you want to see him. I mean, the fact that he's showing up basically wherever he wants and
Mhm.
people want to see him. Like, Cody is, I mean, he's gotten kind of stale. And I'm all for him winning a second championship. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just that, we want to see some more story. Like, I want Drew
Yeah.
McIntyre to win that title and walk around arrogant and being a prick to everybody because he would just hold that title differently than Cody Rhodes,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think there's a lot more story into that, and maybe they did miss the ball with putting the title on Randy or having Cody drop it to Drew. But that also leads me to believe that Cody's not going to be gone as long as others for this movie bit. Um, and I could be wrong. He could be gone for like another month. He also he and his wife Brandy did have another baby, so that throws everything up in the air as well. So congrats to Brandy and Cody for expanding their family. So there's a lot of reasons for him to be off TV outside of WWE. I think what we both can agree on is that not having that championship defended every 30 days goes against the kind of unwritten rules, even though spoken, that the championship is defended every 30 days. Um,
Yeah.
so it doesn't play well to the mythos and the story of that championship or WWE championships be defended every 30 days. It's kind of like you defend the championship every 30 days if it works for the story.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, essentially both championships kind of got lost for a bit, maybe 4, 5, 6 months ago. I mean, when you started having stories that over trumped the championships, and if again, if it's story based, I guess, then whatever, I guess. But, like, you have a lot of story with Cody because there's this strong, you know, like, back and forth between him and Drew McIntyre. And, I feel like Drew McIntyre is playing his role to the absolute T, and he's doing such a great job. And so, like, let's let this cook a little bit. Let's do something with it. I want to see Drew McIntyre with the championship, because I feel like him and his behavior he's had against so many wrestlers, and rub people the wrong way. I mean, even like Damian Priest or, R-Truth or anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's more expansion of possible contenders if it was Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. But I digress.
Yeah.
So Street Profits defeat Carmelo Hayes and The Miz to basically get their title shot at Clash in Paris. Or I think it was the SmackDown. I don't think it was the SmackDown after. I think actually, my bad. But so we finally see Sami Zayn defeat Solo Sikoa to win the United States Championship, which was great to see. And I like that they're making this United States Championship a workhorse title. I love that the fact that it's changed hands 3 times in like a couple months. I'm okay with that, because you give more opportunities on the undercard for holding the secondary title. So, congratulations to the Sami Zayn for defeating Solo Sikoa. And good on him. Sammy hasn't had gold in a while. Yeah. So I'm all for it. So
good for him.
So we get to Clash in Paris. We have the first match kicking off between Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. And honestly, this was just a good straight up match. I know we don't have a lot of these straight up matches.
Right.
But we got one, and good on it. For a straight up, just Roman Reigns is a beast versus, the Ozillo, the tribal thief, whatever you want to call him, and honestly, like, Bronson Reed has a future. Like, him and Braun Breaker, I mean, I have zero doubt in the future that they will bring this company. Like, I hold nothing. I mean, you have Bronson Reed, who's kind of started off in the beginning is kind of wishy, but like when he started, once that Seth Rollins thing happened, was the best thing for his career.
I think before he got injured with last year with what was it? Where he messed up both of his ankles, or
it was against Braun Strowman, or that was a while ago. But...
No, that was it was during War Games last year. He
yeah.
So before he did that, he was kind of had that really great feud where he was just tsunamiing everybody. And I think that is like what really started putting him on the map. And I really appreciate his work. But now this alignment with Seth Rollins creating the vision, as he likes to call it, I think it's a slow build to make him even more credible. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's good to be under the tutelage of Seth Rollins, who's been with the company for probably 12, 13 years. I mean, and so I love when they do these things and they pair someone new-ish with a veteran to better their career. Same thing with The Miz and Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes kind of came out that draft a little bit arrogant, but now that he's paired with The Miz, I feel like he's got a veteran to help him along, because Carmelo Hayes is a full breed heel. Okay. He's not a nice guy. He's never been a nice guy. He wasn't nice in NXT, and I don't imagine them changing him to be all glorious and like,
Right.
And so pairing him with one of the greatest heels in The Miz, I mean, that's a match made in heaven. So like, I look forward to what they do with that and how it catapults Carmelo Hayes. But so we've been seeing slowly but surely these little inklings of cracks in the Street Profits. The very beginning of this match between the Wyatt Six and Street Profits, it was already Angelo Dawkins basically putting his arm out and be like, "No, I got this." And you could see you're seeing the inklings, and I feel like this is still months away, but I feel like there's slow cracks in Street Profits, and everyone who's anyone is all been lobbying for Montez Ford to be a singles competitor. Like, I don't think there's anyone that's watched the Street Profits as long as most of us have that doesn't know that Montez Ford is the star. And nothing against Angelo Dawkins, he's phenomenal. But like, I feel like you can just see it. Like it's
Yeah.
he's got a certain talent that you're like,
Yeah.
put him in singles and let's let him cook. Right?
Yeah, I think it'll be 2 years. I think what they would do for Montez Ford would probably take 2 years to get him, you know, in main event championship matches. And I'm just comparing that to what they did with Jey Uso, what they did with LA Knight, what they've done with others. But there's been a lot of dragging the feet with getting those two to split up. And I don't think we need any type of like meddling storylines or manipulation storylines. What I think we need, and we've talked about this before, they can just go their separate ways, and every once in a while they help out each other. It's like, hey, that's still my brother. You know what I'm saying? A, a lot different than what New Day has done. So I
Yeah.
don't think we need the recipe of when you split up a tag team, you got to have them feud and have them fight. And it could just be like, hey, man, I'm doing me. You going to do you. We both going to go
Yeah.
after gold. We're going to be on different brands. But if,
Yeah.
our paths cross, we still cool. It's business. It ain't personal.
Yeah.
It's business.
Yeah, and I think there still is going to be a little bit of resentment when they do eventually split. I don't see this with kind of how I've been watching it and all the videos I've been
Mhm.
kind of seeing on, the different angles to the story. I don't feel like it's going to be a complete clusterfuck when they break up, but I definitely think it's going to be kind of one of those like pushes them and then walks off in the middle of a match or something. Like, I think something like that where it's not going to be like too egregious and too aggressive, but it's going to be like that frustration angle, right? Where like you're just frustrated with things and you're just like, I'm just done. So I don't think it'll be a complete just landmine, but I think there'll be tension, and obviously down the road, I'm sure, like you said, they'll still have each other's backs. Um, so, but so Clash in Paris, we get Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella, and I still respect the fact that Nikki Bella still does have the it factor, but like I hated how this ended. Like
Mm,
this match was pretty, like B minus, maybe C plus, as far as
yeah.
like, amount of things going on in the match. But like for Becky to win on a roll up on a PLE,
Yeah.
and not like a schoolboy, like literally just rolled her up, and that was the win. And like you
You
could
know,
see that like Nikki Bella almost didn't want to take that L, at least
right.
in that way. Like she
Right.
just sat there like a dead fish and just took the 3-pin. And it's like, how do you have her all this allure of her coming back? And yeah, I still want Becky Lynch to be champion because she's an absolute bitch and she's good at it. But like,
Is
but
good at it.
to like give the L like that to Nikki Bella coming back is like, like I
You
feel
know,
like, but like they had to have a definitive end to this in order
Right.
to get to the next thing, which we'll obviously
Yeah.
get to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I it wasn't the best ending to a situation, but you know, sometimes you have to rush the story, you have to rush the match.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. It shouldn't have been a roll up, but however, if it had been teased throughout the match, that it was gonna be like some type of, cheap finish, then so be it. I mean, it just
Yeah.
makes it makes Becky look stronger than probably what she is, and it makes Nikki look like she should have stayed retired because you fell to, a roll up, and
right.
you didn't take the roll up well.
Yeah, and it definitely looked like one of those situations where it's like she just didn't want it. She didn't want it, but she was like, "Well, this is what I'm paid to do." So, but so Sheamus and Rusev have been having this go at it for back and forth for the better part of the last probably 3 months, and obviously even beyond that, years beyond that. Before Rusev left, they still had stuff, and I like that they're letting this story cook. Like it is honest to God, it is a banger. Like like I don't think people understand like when wrestling fans say like it was a banger. Like
Mhm.
not a good song. Like no, this is just a good ass like let them cook, let them fight. They had a
Yeah.
good old fashioned Donnybrook match where they literally used anything and everything they possibly could around the ring, including barrels and everything else. It sucks that Sheamus didn't get the win and Rusev did, but like I feel like they're starting to slowly cook on Rusev's return, and I feel like with him getting it seems to be kind of a push, a slight push. It kind of sucks for the rest of people that have been here for a while Rusev
Right.
was gone to come back and kind of take some shine. But I mean, he's a good ass wrestler. He's a big man. He's a strong man, and he does not have to say much. He settles it in the ring. So, so we get to the John Cena Logan Paul match, which I mean, it was everything you thought it'd be. I mean, I still chalk it up to Logan Paul like learning the business and being a great performer. Like I take nothing away. I just don't like him personally.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
wrestler Logan Paul, I don't have a problem with. Personal Logan Paul, I can't stand you. But, put on a good match. Obviously, John Cena's going to get the win.
Right.
He's not taking L's the rest of it, with the exception of against Cody Rhodes losing the title.
Fact.
But so the final match was Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus LA Knight versus Jey Uso in a fatal 4-way. And man, this match was good. This match did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. And obviously, it ends with one mysterious figure coming out to help Seth Rollins win, which obviously turns out to be Becky Lynch, which only leads us to more tension because for the longest time, like out of their own mouths, but Seth Rollins' mouth and Becky Lynch's mouth, they never really wanted to work together. They kind of wanted to keep their career, their trajectories in different spots, but I feel like with what we're going to talk about in a hot second here, it only makes sense.
Right.
So, um, so we get Raw after Clash in Paris. We get the kickoff. Obviously, we get LA Knight and Jey Uso kind of having a discussion, we'll call it. When obviously Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker come out in typical fashion, we get that match later. Really, no surprise.
Mm.
Um, so we get Kabuki Warriors defeating Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. And I love that they're taking L's because the fact that Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez is a freaking tongue twister. The fact that they're taking L's is going to add to the story when Liv Morgan returns.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting
It's
dynamic to
creating
see.
disdain and frustration on Liv Morgan's part. Like, oh, I left and we were champions and we were winning, and now I leave and now you guys won the. You just took on the championship, didn't actually do anything. You just joined the group and took it, and then you lost them, and now you're taking losses and losses and losses. Like, I I love that it's going to build something for Liv Morgan's return whenever she does return. I don't know the severity of the injury, but it was talked about in the realm of 6 months.
Mhm.
So I guess we'll just kind of wait and see. But I can't wait till she gets back. Um, Finn Balor defeating Dragon Lee, really nothing there. I feel like they're really missing the ball with Finn Balor. I
Yeah.
I really think he's to the point where he's mid. And we all know that Finn has way more to offer than mid.
Mhm.
And
He
we've talked
does.
about this for a while, and even though I feel like they keep on dropping these subtle hints of Finn Balor laughing at Dominic Mysterio in interviews and stuff like that, I still feel like there's nothing definitive right now
Yeah,
in
it could
regards
go.
to the downfall of Judgment Day.
Yeah, it can
So
go any way. Oh, I just looked up and Sports Illustrated is saying that maybe early 2026 Liv Morgan returns. So who knows? At least we probably won't see her the rest of this year.
yeah, which is understandable. I mean, honestly, the injury probably felt worse than it looked. So,
Yeah.
um, and the thing is like, and that's wrestling. Shit
Yeah.
happens, man. Like, it doesn't take much, man. I mean, you know, and it's not
Yeah.
even botches. It's literally just, it's just wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling, like,
Just
people don't understand is that these guys we don't have stunt doubles. We don't have second takes. This isn't the pandemic era. We don't have do-overs,
mhm.
and these guys are going, 2, 3, 4 times a week. So respect the work ethic, respect the fact that they continue to do it week in and week out and year in and year out. So,
Yeah.
so Penta and War Raiders team up against the New Day in Big G, as they're calling him, Grayson Waller, which I think is honestly a little bit funny, honestly,
Mhm.
because Grayson Waller's he's tall, but he's not like, it's not Big E-esque.
Right.
like, like if Bronson Reed joined the group and they called him Big B, like, I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. But,
Yeah. You know what?
I mean, you know
It's
what? Honestly,
they
I feel like,
heal. They heal
well,
tactics.
and we don't even know what's going on with Austin Theory. So, like, I felt like
He's
this is it.
hurt.
Or yeah, he got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, this is just kind of good filler for Grayson Waller to be in, just so he's still working and he's still out there. He's still doing stuff. Like, you got to put him somewhere,
Yeah.
because, I mean, he's still a good wrestler. Like, I don't think, like, I mean, I know they haven't really got him in much feuds over the last, like, year, but, like, he is a good performer. Like, but yeah. So Penta and the World Raiders obviously defeat them. And at least this is a W for Penta.
Yeah.
Like, I and what are they doing with his brother? Like,
You know, they're
like,
just they're just who knows?
they're pissing talent away is what they're
You
doing.
know, here's the thing. We've seen this before and we've had the same realization and argument before. WWE likes to bring in new talent, get them over and then rebuild them. It's not like we saw it early with LA Knight. We saw glimpses of it with Carmelo Hayes. They bring in the new talent to the roster, to the main roster, get them a few wins, have them be exciting so people can start to invest in them, and then they start to rebuild them, give their character something. So we've seen this before. I think the more we repeat it, the more we're upset about that decision. I know that WWE superstars are not going to win every single match, but when they do finally lose, it seems like they can't get out of the funk of continuously losing,
Hmm.
and that's when we like really start to pick it apart. It's like, oh man, they're burying him, they've lost interest in them. No, it's just their way of like rebuilding the character, even though you may have been following this person for 15 years
Yeah.
outside of WWE, and we know how good Penta and Ray Phoenix are.
I mean, I
It's good to
just,
see them utilized in a way that they Penta and Ray are envisioning. They're on television, they're performing, they're telling stories. Yeah, they're going to win and they're going to lose, and that's just
yeah.
the nature of WWE. It's
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that we want to see happen. Like with the tag team division where it is, like I'm just waiting for them. I know Andrade has been tagging with Ray Phoenix for a while now, but like I still want Penta and Ray Phoenix eventually. And
Right.
whether that's years down the road or whatever, like, I think, lucha style wrestlers, let alone two of them in the same match, is going to be explosive, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, I mean it, and that's just fantasy. I mean, I don't know when, if even if they will ever do it. I mean,
you
they are
know
on separate shows, but like
it's
I
got to
feel,
it's got to happen soon. It's got to be something that they pair them up with. I mean, they're not aligning, having an alignment of AAA Mexico wrestling, and not have two of the most talented performers to come from Mexico in quite some time
yeah,
on
and
their broadcast, and not have them get back together and just be the Lucha Bros. I mean,
yeah.
we you know,
Well,
and
and the
maybe it
thing is,
just takes time.
yeah, and there's a lot of crossover right now in regards to, like, not even just NXT or TNA or AAA. Like, they're starting to really kind of even cross over main roster talent to AAA, or even down to NXT again. Chelsea Green's kind of back down in NXT for, off and on periodically. I mean, and so like
Mhm.
I like that they're starting to almost kind of brand things where it's like you kind of go where a good story is for you,
Right.
and if that's down in NXT, or if that's in AAA, or that's TNA, like, let it ride. I mean, because it's like now we're truly stacked. I mean, you got AAA, you got TNA, you got NXT, you got Raw, you got SmackDown. Like, I mean, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. Like, there's just so much going on. There's so much wrestling to digest, especially, if you watch AAA, it's like, dude, that's like nonstop. Like, lucha wrestling is nonstop. It's not a slow, methodical match. It is super athletic,
Yeah, it's a
and it's
very
so,
fast, steady pace of athleticism. You've got a lot of spots that happen that are acrobatic. I was just sitting here thinking, like, daydreaming about some of the AAA matches that I've seen, or just lucha matches that I've seen with, you know, you know, just everybody doing everything at the same time, and it just tells this really, interesting story. Yeah, it's a different experience. And it would be exciting to see WWE's take for American audiences during an American broadcast of what lucha could be. Um, so
yeah,
I
and
think,
they
yeah,
and they're slowly bringing some of the AAA like competitors, whether it's, a handful of matches or something, to the main
hmm
roster. So like you get to experience that as the American audience, to the lucha style wrestling. I mean, because not everybody gets to see it.
yeah,
A lot of it is global, so it's like you don't understand like how much it really is. until you see it live. And like especially like American wrestling is very kind of very simplistic recipe kind of wrestling, you know, and so like lucha style wrestling is a whole different monster. But so we get, sorry, I guess I'm talking about, but so we get Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental, and I don't understand what their angle is right now with El Grande Americano and all of this. Like for a hot second, they had a bunch of them. Now it's just consistently Ludwig Kaiser as El Grande Americano. And honestly, like when Chad Gable returns, I kind of don't want them to change it up from Ludwig, because apparently he's out. Apparently he's out. Like he's speaking Spanish. He's doing all these things, and I feel like he's a way better El Grande Americano than Chad Gable was, because like if you honestly want to look up things, and you can see like Ludwig Kaiser, who I believe is German, like he's out there like at these AAA shows or any other like Mexican wrestling basically, and like he's speaking full on fluid Spanish. Like that blows my mind, because when you've seen Ludwig over the last 10 years, like in WWE and NXT and stuff, like you look at him and you're like, there's no way. Like I don't know if he took some like Rosetta Stone classes of Spanish, but like,
yeah, I mean, it
whatever
happens.
he's
Yeah.
doing, he is amplifying that character, and he is fully engulfed in that character.
And I think that's the wonderful thing about professional wrestling, when you have the opportunity to go from like independents and small promotions to WWE. You can see the investment in time and the ability to learn new skills to make yourself more credible as a talent that can do a multitude of things that's very diverse. So yeah, I don't, I'm not hating on Ludwig Kaiser for taking on the mantle of El Grande Americano. Good for him. I mean, if you've been learning Spanish,
get in where you fit in, man.
Exactly. And if he's going to take that role and they're going to give it to him for a while, sure. Let us have the Spider-Man meme where we see like 3 or 4 Americanos just in a ring, and Chad Gable is getting upset because it was his shtick, but Ludwig is doing it better. I mean, it's like,
yeah, and they had that brief. They had the brief thing with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Like,
yeah,
I like, it's one of those things where like I feel like it's a slow ease into like El Grande Americano and like Dominic Mysterio maybe like leaving the Judgment Day or something and like doing their own thing or something. Because El Grande seems to be helping out Dominic more times than not versus the Judgment Day. So it just adds some interesting layers to, the whole character. So we'll get to. But so we get this Becky Lynch segment followed by CM Punk and the dozen slaps heard around the world. I chalk it up to the CM Punk taking those slaps, which ain't no slouch of a slap, from Becky Lynch, and just continuing to add layers to certain things happening down the road. Just because there's legitimate disdain. Like it's not character. Like Seth Rollins does not like CM Punk, period. Like it's not his character. No, he legitimately doesn't. That's why it works so well, because there's actual like disdain in real life. So end of the night, we get Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed versus Jey Uso and LA Knight. And man, I don't know why they haven't put Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in the tag team championship thing, but man, it would be great.
I think
'Cause
it's all a matter of time before that happens because, yeah, those two working together could be a real good tag team. Yeah, two big men just doing their thing. Yeah. Um, yeah.
yeah, but so we kick off SmackDown with obviously John Cena coming out as he does and doing the things that John Cena does, and as he's about to leave the ring, we get Sami Zayn coming out, and I I was kind of trying to figure out why, right? And
Hmm.
so come to find out, obviously, like way back, John Cena used to do the US Open Challenge, Matt, basically, hey, you want some, come get some. And Sami Zayn had gotten the opportunity, to go against John Cena in that one of those open challenges early in his career. And so Sami Zayn, as a respectable champion and a respectable competitor, wanted to basically pay homage to John Cena and basically have a Sami Zayn United States Championship Open Challenge. But he wanted to face John. And honestly, this was a great back and forth match until the emergence of Brock Lesnar.
Of course, because
In
they can't
in
not.
It was definitely a mixed reaction when the first came out. It was cheers, and as he decimated Sami Zayn and John Cena, um, it was boos. And I think a lot of it is that, from what I've gathered from multiple videos I've watched on this very topic, some people aren't as privy to having Brock Lesnar back, given all of the legality behind him.
Right.
And I don't know if this is purely John Cena wants this and they're going to give it to him, and then Brock will go away after that. I don't know, but it's definitely a mixed bag. I think there's a lot of fans that they don't watch the outside stuff. They are purist. They just
Yep.
watch the wrestling. They just watch this, and they watch this, the different rumor roundups of stuff, but they don't dive deep into anything beyond wrestling. But then you have the other portion that do, and you're going to get mixed signals. You're going to get mixed crowd response, based on
Yep.
him returning. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you know, whatever. Honestly, like I get it. There's there's a lot of stuff going on, but at the end of the day, I put it like this.
All right.
I like wrestling, and I like Brock Lesnar beating people up. Whatever with the outside stuff, it's the same. It's the same thing with Hulk Hogan's passing, right? There's all this outside stuff going on, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you look at him as Hulk Hogan, the wrestler. You look at him as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, one of the founders of I guess the founder of essentially NWO. Like, you look at him from the lens of being a wrestling fan, right? You don't add in all the extra noise because you love wrestling. So when someone you love in wrestling, that's just what it is. You love the performer, right? The
Mm,
outside stuff can kind of it's
I
if you really ingest it, like, and you really like dig into it, like, yeah, you're gonna be salty. Like, I mean, but like for me, like, I kind of like to brush this stuff away a little bit because I just love watching wrestling,
right.
and I don't want to get caught up in all of the politics and the legalities and all that stuff. Like, I just want to watch wrestling, and just that's just what it's about for me. Like, I don't.
So here's the counterpoint to that. All right. And I'll make it brief. Professional wrestling for a lot of people are a reflection of the societies that we live in, and you can't take away, or you can't separate the character from the man or the woman, the person portraying that character. Both of which have had polarizing careers in the ring and outside of the ring. Um, but you also looked at them as people that, people aspire to, they look up to, they consider them role models. So when you hear about all of these outside of the ring situations, activities, comments, uh, it's hard for a lot of people to say, like, well, I'm only interested in what they do in the ring. Um, when a lot of people are saying, like, who you are in the ring is a reflection of who you are, period. So yes, there are a lot of opinions and beliefs and points of views about both Brock Lesnar and um, Hulk Hogan. It For some people, you just can't separate that, and it's very challenging to see someone who has outside of the ring legal issues be in the ring and be performing. Is this like one of those John Cena wish list, bring him back for another match type of thing? Probably. Who knows? Is this, are we going to get more Brock Lesnar after
And I
John
don't
Cena
think I don't think
retires?
I don't think we will.
Yeah,
I think
who knows?
this is a John Cena farewell tour, and I feel like there's nothing left for Brock Lesnar after. I mean, like, I really thought after the match with Cody Rhodes and kind of the passing of the torch,
Hmm.
as it were, was kind of the be all end all of Brock Lesnar. And I
Yeah,
think and I think this is just purely, I really do just think it is just a John Cena bucket list on the way out.
you know
And
what? It
I and
could
I
be.
and I, because I don't see anything else for Brock Lesnar to be involved in other than the historic feud with John Cena.
Yeah,
So
I would agree.
I really don't think this
Agree with
is
that.
really.
Yeah,
I think this is just a hoorah. Like, Brock wants
yeah.
to go be on his farm, be with his family,
But
and
but then
I
we have to look at and potentially have the discussion of what does WWE do when Brock says I'm done, and he agrees to like a farewell tour or one last match, the last ride of Brock Lesnar. You know, how will people respond to that? It there's just a lot of challenges and a lot of difficult conversations that people are having outside of professional wrestling about what is happening to their favorite professional wrestlers outside of the ring.
yeah.
So being
And
mindful of that, I can see where people would be very vocal negatively about Brock Lesnar, but also WWE could be playing up to that and piping in noise like they've always done and making it seem like people were booing and that sort of thing seem to make Brock Lesnar the heel, and for it to be definitive that John is the face and Brock is the heel, and playing up to that, it yeah.
I don't see Brock Lesnar having some kind of farewell tour. Like, I don't see it, just because, like, I mean, he's done everything there has to be done. He wasn't like, I mean, he was a loved character when he was with Paul Heyman and everything, and he kind of was okay. He was okay by himself for, those brief maybe year or so. But, like, I don't think like I think John Cena's impact versus Brock Lesnar's impact on wrestling are different. And so I being that John was, a phase 99.5% of his career, and him kind of, paying the fans back. Brock's not one of those pay the fans back. He's
Yeah.
not like, and I don't, and not that it's really heelish or facious. I just don't think like Brock Lesnar's the guy that's gonna be like, oh, I just want these last couple matches. I want to, because he's not the guy that shows up every week. So
and
like,
he hasn't been that way for a very long time.
no,
And but also too, if there's money for WWE to make, they're not going to leave a dime on the table. So if they can get Brock Lesnar to do some sort of a tour, some sort of a farewell, or anything like that, they are going to do it.
yeah, and honestly, I probably think Brock would probably turn it down. Like, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure Brock loves money. Brock doesn't need money. Like,
Yeah, I don't think Brock is going to turn down any money. I think
you
he
know,
like,
I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, I guess we'll see in the next couple years if anything
yeah,
turns up. I feel
you're
like
right.
if nothing happens in the next like 3 or 4 years, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But we digress.
Yes, we do.
But so Aleister Black and Damian Priest have been having this kind of backstage drama. Nothing really like crazy story based. But
Mhm.
again, like I was saying before, like there just needs to be a little bit behind these matches. And there's been a lot of stuff back and forth in regards to Aleister Black and Damian Priest. And like this is gonna be one of those like trifecta probably matches. We're probably gonna have handfuls of matches against each other and then it'll just be done and life will go on. But yeah. So um so Julia has had the title. I looked at I believe this was only her second defense of having this title for 2 months. And this goes back, I think it was 69 days, so it was over 2 months, and this is only her second time defending it, and, like, it's kind of mind-boggling to me, like, how much they kind of pushed Stephanie Vaquer and Julia out the gate when they came to the rosters, almost simultaneously. And it seemed like they're pushing more Stephanie Vaquer than Julia. Because I mean, Julia's been kind of a background figure for a while. Her pairing with Kiana James that just kind of showed up from NXT and is some kind of manager or managerial role for Julia, and
Mhm.
it's kind of goofy. It's really like it doesn't have much behind it, I guess you could say.
Mm.
And I really feel like it with the women's intercontinental with again Becky holding it and kind of bringing more eyeballs to her and the women's intercontinental. I feel like they're doing more for that than they are with the United States Championship because I actually almost forgot who had the United States Championship. And like and all of a sudden I'm just like watching and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I guess Julia has it. Like they really didn't like I said, they did more for Stephanie Vaquer push than Julia. But
You
but
know,
obviously
yeah,
um,
the pairing with Kiana James and Julia, I would not be surprised if it's to get both of them over at the same time. Julia may be struggling with learning English and getting over speaking in English. That's a Vince McMahon thing. Kiana James, obviously a native English speaker. So I would not be surprised if that's the pairing and that's why they're doing it. And then Kiana can turn heel on Julia. They can have a feud. Julia drops the championship to her. Kiana can go on and start having a Tiffany Stratton like career.
yeah.
And what I'm more surprised is the time that they're taking time with Stephanie Vaquer as opposed to Julia, because I didn't think Julia would have a championship before Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah.
And then that, to me, that says Stephanie probably has a stronger character that can tolerate the time to get over with the
Yeah.
fans. So I am not, I'm just surprised at both of them that,
Well,
that's the case.
and I think like the secondary title, I feel like Stephanie was never angled for a secondary title. And now that she's lined up for the women's championship, which I'm a little bit frustrated with this. Let's put Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer for the title. Like, I don't like that they're putting Io Sky again. Like, why aren't they doing something where like it's an over the top battle royal or a fatal four way? they just threw Io Sky into the match. Not Rhea Ripley, but Io Sky. And honestly, I wouldn't even want them to even put Rhea Ripley. Like, I don't understand the creative direction when you just throw Io Sky in again. Like, oh, I got someone in mind. Like, and honestly, I just really feel like they should have just gave the title to Stephanie Vaquer. And not even did this extra match, and then just work it from there, you know, almost like the cash in when Becky Lynch got pregnant and gave her title to Asuka. Like, you know,
But
Stephanie Vaquer
that's because
earned that
Asuka
title.
won that match. Asuka won that match, and it was supposed to be a briefcase. And surprise, it's the championship you wanted because I'm pregnant. Yay!
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, being that she won that opportunity, if she doesn't win, which I'm leaning about 75% sure she's gonna win, but like the fact that they didn't do anything to build that next competitor is
Mhm.
irritating. And
Yeah.
especially throwing Io Sky in there again. Like, again, really? You just like, it's dumb enough that you had her win over Rhea Ripley before fucking WrestleMania. Like,
It still grinds
that
your gears, doesn't it?
it absolutely fucking does. And so the fact that they've done nothing for the remainder of the roster, but let's throw Io Sky in here again. Like, and it's nothing against Io Sky. I love Io Sky. I love the women's division. I think there's more depth than people think. But the fact that they just didn't have any build, had no fatal 4-way, 6-pack challenge, ladder match, something, anything. They just throw her in there, and oh yeah, by the way, you get an opportunity. And I get because she cashed in, but like, I still, it just grinds my gears. And I wish that they would stop just handing out top tier championship opportunities to just anybody. There's a depth of the women's division, and you just throw someone in. I just think it's cheap. I think it's dumb, and I hate it. But let's get to the nitty gritty.
Yes.
So Becky comes out and does what she does, followed by CM Punk, and we get the return of AJ Lee, right?
Yes.
And the thing that sucks about this is that it was fucking obvious. It was not a surprise. It was not fucking anything. It just, we already knew it. So like, the fact that this happened, big fucking what? Because it just, I'm ranting. I'm going. I'm
Go
Brad.
for it. You,
Because it, like, there was nothing to it. It wasn't like, it was like they showed up at WrestlePalooza and they're like, oh, who's going to be his mystery partner? You know, bring her back at WrestlePalooza, but to bring her on, I mean, I get it because they're in Chicago. And it's like, and then, you know, and it was just too predictable. You might as well just had her walk out with CM Punk. Like, it was a pop that everybody knew. It was no different than when me and Tim went to WrestleMania 38 and Cody
Mhm.
returned. We all knew it was going to happen. It wasn't a surprise. Like, there's too much obvious shit in WWE to think it's a surprise. The surprise that I actually was surprised about was when Brock Lesnar returned. Because it was off TV. I didn't even know it until my son sends me a TikTok about Brock returning. That's a surprise. But to have her come back, oh, in Chicago, like, and how long is she going to be there? For this feud, probably, and that's about it. Like,
You know,
I don't think she's back. I think this is, let's just have her do a couple matches. Let's have her Nikki Bella, you know, contract it and have her come to do this. And then what is she doing after that? We got a women's division, honey. You were great. You were great when you were great, but we have a depth roster now, a deep roster. Like, we don't really need you. We need you for this feud, and that's about it.
You know, I think what's a good way of putting this? I am not the demographic for AJ Lee returning. Um, yes, I think bringing her back at WrestlePalooza probably would have been a bigger pop. Um, but they already, let it out and they already, you know, yeah, they already kind of screwed it up.
Cat's out
Or
the
that was,
bag.
or it was always the plan, don't tease people, that sort of stuff. So yeah,
It
just
it it just was way too obvious, and then she posts about it, and then you get on. There was a video released of CM Punk at a house show doing the trot of AJ Lee. Like
Mhm.
if they would have made this more like tongue in cheek and more like mysterious, it would have been fine. But it like I'm happy you're back. That's fine. But like, but don't for a second think that like anyone in that stadium was surprised. Anybody watching was surprised. And it's cool that you're
Yeah.
back. That's fine. But like you said, it would have been a bigger pop at Indianapolis at WrestlePalooza. There's more people there. I mean, and honestly, like her video garnered over 93 million views. I think it was 93 or 97 million views on her return. And I get that's the goal, right? Got to get clicks and likes and
You
views.
know.
Like, but it, I just I it was just rushed.
You
You
know,
know, and
I don't mind it being rushed. All right. In this aspect, the payoff could have been different. And the payoff was actually confirming, seeing her in a ring. And I think the payoff was rushed, not f- not finally getting her into the ring, getting her to show up and returning to WWE under a contract. It was the payoff, and that payoff happening before WrestlePalooza when it could have happened at WrestlePalooza, and they could have drug it out for a couple more weeks. That's fine. They're used to dragging out stuff that we didn't want. So, I mean,
yeah, I
what's
mean,
what's 2 more weeks versus, them being in Chicago? I think
well, and it
WrestlePalooza would have been a better showing.
well, and it's like if there was just like beef, if they had like a harsh conversation or something, if it wasn't for the slaps, if you took out the slaps from Becky Lynch, this would have been more of a surprise. And if
Yeah.
CM Punk didn't come out that night and then talk to her and then get slapped some more and then walk away, if he would have, if honestly, he would have said, "Oh, oh," or even if like, I mean, there could have been a better build, but like, but all the slapping was so obvious to like that happening. It would have been like it. I don't know how you could have a better pop, honestly, for her returning it. I really because it didn't matter how you did it because we all know who his wife is.
Mhm.
And so no matter how you foiled this story, whether there wasn't slaps or there was slaps, it would have made more sense if Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch were both in the ring, not Seth being up at the top of the stadium. If they were both in the ring and like there was just a lot of banter and be like, oh, oh, who the heck wants to pair with you?
Yeah. Yep.
You
And
know,
I'm sitting here daydreaming about how that could all play out like you're describing it, like, you know yeah, I think it would have been a lot better if the payoff would have been like a confrontation 2-on-1, and then AJ Lee, like shows up during like, the high point of the confrontation, like Becky and Seth are punking out CM Punk, and then Becky like, goes to slap him, and then we get AJ Lee's music, and then AJ Lee struts down to the ring, both of them looking bewildered,
It
CM
just didn't
Punk with
make
that
it didn't
shit-eating
yeah.
grin on his face. Yeah, I think that could have been a better payoff
And the thing is, like, after
on
watching
Friday.
some of the videos, like, it was if they would have done no real build to this and had it happen, because it
Mhm.
was September 5th was the first time that CM Punk met AJ Lee. And so, like, this date had significance, but it's like the problem is with WWE is everything gets leaked. Like, it doesn't matter how they talk about it or they do it, it always gets leaked. Or it's like the rumor mill is like already kind of onto it, right? Like, you're not being sneaky about these references. In the funniest thing I've seen was when there was a clip with CM Punk getting out of his vehicle and walking in. Literally, if you look behind him, it's very subtle, but like you can see Brock Lesnar going into a trailer. like like before and like stupid things like that. Like, you guys failed because like some people look at every little detail and they will pick apart every show and know what they're talking about. So, but yeah, I mean, so WrestlePalooza's in 2 weeks. The only matches we have right now are Brock and John Cena and Io Sky and Stephanie Vaquera. That's all we got. And we'll talk about those next week when it gets closer.
Right.
But we will put a pin in this as we do, and we will hopefully be all three of us next week. So we can definitely get some more points of views between all three of us versus just the two of us. But this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.